Hey everyone, this is Sally Mae with Silhouette Secrets Plus, and in this video tutorial I'm going to share with you some tricks for working with a full sticker sheet and separating out individual parts of that sticker file. Every design you work with may be a little bit different, so the techniques that are used could vary depending on how the design was created. Here's a look at the gift tags that I created and shared with the Silhouette Secrets newsletter subscribers and how I used the individual images from this sticker sheet on those files without having to print the entire sheet of stickers. So I'm going to share with you how to work with this particular sticker file that is by Rabia Biltz, who is the featured designer for the Silhouette Secrets November 2025 newsletter. I will put links in the video description on these files that I'm working with and how you can get those as well. Every sticker file that you work with is going to be a little bit different depending on the designer who created it. I really like this file in particular because it is designed with the idea of fitting within the Silhouette print and cut registration marks, and it's using the default registration marks. So all of the design here, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. All of the design is within the print and cut borders, and it is not in the crosshatched area of that print and cut. This crosshatched area is your safety zone for your optical eye to read those registration marks as accurately as possible. When you change those registration marks, you increase the chances that your print and cut is not going to cut accurately. So designers who create their files with that in mind are great. Every sticker file can be a little bit different, especially if you're working with files from different designers because they were created differently. This particular sticker file is composed of two layers, the first layer, this layer here, is your graphic layer. You can see the selection box around it. This is containing all of the graphic images. It is one layer. It is not separated out, so you have to do a few additional steps if you want to use this in a file. For my particular project that I shared at the beginning, I was creating tags and I wanted to use these little reindeer guys on top of the tags. So if I come over here, this is my working file that I use to print. I have everything grouped together, so I'm just going to ungroup that and share how I have this design. So this is the graphic image that I have separated out from that sticker sheet, and I've placed it on top of my tag. I do not need the cut line for the particular reindeer, and I do not need it to cut because I'm placing it on top of the white tag so it can all be printed at the same time, and then the tag shape cut out. So it will depend on your particular project. I'm going to come back over here to this file, and the other portion of this design is your cut lines. Now in this case, all of those cut lines are individual pieces. If you do move it like I have, make sure not to move those individual cut lines or your design could be off. Sometimes when you open a sticker file, those will all be grouped together. Again, just depending on how it was designed. I'm going to hit Control-Z and undo this, and it's going to go back to where it was. Now I'm going to show you two ways that you can work with this. It depends on the end result that you want to work with. But what I noticed and what I want to point out that was how I determined how I was going to work with it is that when we zoom in here on our file, if I left click and drag across this individual image, what you're going to see here is, let me click off first and click back on the graphic image only. The selection box for the graphic that is currently, I've selected that only. It goes through the cut lines that are on the design. So your graphic part of the design is smaller than some of these cut lines. Your cut lines extend outside of that. Now the first way I want to show you is using the crop feature to crop all of the designs at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out here a little bit, come back in just to my page. If I left click and drag across everything or press Control-A to select all, now I have the entire graphic image and my cut lines selected. If I come over here to the crop under the modify panel, choose crop. Now each of those images has been cropped. They are now showing individual selection boxes around every single image. I'm going to come up to the line color and I'm going to turn that to red so you can see where those lines are now. And then let's zoom in here. Now, if you were cutting this as a sticker file, it's not going to work properly if you're wanting those individual stickers with that border around it. And the reason why is because of that selection box around your graphic. When you crop it, it crops it to the selection box or to the outer boundaries of your graphic. And this is why I see some questions when users are working with graphics. It can actually interfere. So if that graphic box was in even further, it could cut off your graphic part of your image. So if you were wanting to cut this file, this is goofy. This is not what you would want for the edge of your sticker. For my particular project, I don't need it to cut around the image. I can actually just use this file as is. I can turn the cut line color off, and I simply am using the graphic image on top of the tag. So let me show you how I did that. I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to grab this tag here, copy it, and I'm going to paste it onto my design mat. And then I have my image, which does not need to be cut. I place the tag on top, so the tag is in front. I'm going to right click on the graphic and I'm going to choose bring to front. Then I can place it on top of my tag where I want it to print. And then I can send this to print and it will cut out the tag shape. So I don't need that cut line for my particular project. But if you do, then you won't be able to use crop to individually break these apart, because if you do, you end up with that harsh line on some of those stickers. So keep that in mind when you're working with stickers, if you're trying to make those separate out to be individual. Now it only affects those that are on the edge or were on the edge of that graphic selection box. So it does affect your tops here on your text. If I come back out here, I'm just going to hit undo a few times. And another neat feature, if you have business edition, this is almost worth the entire business edition alone. If you're designing in Silhouette Studio a lot, multiple undo, which is this little backwards arrow circle, is fabulous. So you can come out here and every single move that I've made is listed there. I can simply select back to where I was, scroll down the list, and then continue that until I'm back to where I want it to be. Now, in your multiple undo, your function names sometimes don't even make sense. Like it said, weld 31 shapes. I didn't weld anything. I cropped it, didn't weld it together. But that's just how the studio software says it. So I am going to zoom out here. Now I'm back to the beginning where I have my individual. So multiple undo, great feature in the business edition software. Another way you can work with this is you can take this individual graphic file, and if you just want to pull a few of your images out of that graphic file, you can come in here if you don't need the cut line. If you need a cut line, you could try to trace these and see if they would trace well enough for you to get a clean cut line. That's what I would suggest. That's another tutorial. If you simply need to separate the images from it, another way to do that is to come over here to your line tools and use your draw curved shape, and you're going to just simply draw around it. And it doesn't have to be a particular shape because I'm not using it to cut. I'm just simply using it to move that graphic away. Now you can do it individually, or I can draw around. We'll draw around this little guy here. Oops, you don't want to get it in. I'll show you how to work with that here in just a second since I did it. So once that shape is closed, if I zoom in here, you can see my cut line, my line is pretty close to that guy. I thought it was over top of it, but if you need to, you can come in and you can add, drop an edit point and move that out away from your design. Edit points are a really great thing to start playing around with and working with. So let's just do one more so I can show you multiples at a time. If your selection box that's around your graphic is too close to the image, it can affect the image. I think I already said that, but I want to make sure to say it again. So it could essentially cut off your graphic and you won't have that full graphic. So here's another way you can work with this. So what I have done is I have left clicked, dragged across everything. So my graphic is selected and all three of those cut lines that I currently drew. I'm going to come over here to the modify panel and I'm going to choose crop. That is going to crop those images, and now I'm left only with those images that I selected. So that is a second way that you can separate out images as well. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear if you've used this technique to separate out individual images from your sticker sheets and if you were successful in working with those. Make sure to check out the links in the video description for the designs that I used in this video tutorial. Thanks for watching and have a great day.